What's good, homies? It's your man, Dr. BOA. Somebody sent me a video or somebody sent me a post from Black Sports Online. Shout out to Black Sports Online. And this is a recurring theme that's going on with these young athletes. Now, you know, I just did the story on Brittany Rayner, how she was 25, 26, cruising around the Kentucky campus, man, cruising on 18-year-old, man, and she been tracking that boy PJ Washington, man. She been hawking him she been on him like an eagle, man, track and prey. And that's a pretty insignificant age difference, if you ask me. You understand? I'm in my 40s, my brother's in her 20s. So that's a pretty insignificant age difference to me. But you know the kind of backlash I get for that? That's some cats that would call me a word that doesn't even apply to me because in the 20s, she's legal. But in this story right here, man, old school video girl, now IG OG scallywag Thot Bernice Burgos. She has been hawking this young cat, Sharife Cooper. Now, he was predicted to be a first-round draft pick, but he ended up sliding to the second round. But that didn't stop her. She been liking his IG pics. She showed up at his draft party. You know the type of thing that make y'all suckers, man, feel like a bra really into you when she just trying to show up on the scene and make herself visible to you. And no matter how old the broad is, if she on that Instagram, man, or she on this OnlyFans, man, showing herself in a way that impresses you with these filters and all of these other things they use, you got to keep in mind, man, that this is a woman who's hawking prey. And the crazy thing is, she gonna get it. Now, this is a chick, man, that's been linked to a bunch of guys. Drake, T.I., Trey Songz, even Young M.A. She's been grouped to the lesbian chick, Young M.A. But that's not gonna matter to this young guy because he doesn't have the mental capacity, which is a defense against a woman's games, to even protect himself. And obviously, I doubt if he has anyone around him. But what he should be doing, he should be looking at PJ Washington and Tyler Hero and asking them what the business is. Now, I'm going to read the story, man, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it and what's going on in this society with these type of scenarios. So let's take a deep dive on this one. But first, let's elevate to a higher plane. Path for takeoff. All right. The annual NBA draft took place last night, which featured a lot of premier talent, including Jalen Suggs, Cade Cunningham, and Sharife Cooper, who many expected to be a first-round pick but slid into the second, being drafted by the Atlanta Hawks with the 48th overall pick. Cooper sliding in the draft wasn't the only story. Apparently, Instagram model Bernice Burgos. Now, let's first of all, there's no such thing as an Instagram model. There are bras on Instagram who model themselves, but they're not models. They're not Instagram models. They're chicks who show themselves on Instagram. Just take pictures of themselves and put them up every day. But she had her eyes on a young 20-year-old point guard. She's 41. He's 20. She posted on her Instagram story at Cooper's draft party, and she has liked a lot of his pictures on his IG. If this is true, hopefully Cooper will reach out to Tyler Hero and PJ Washington about dating older women, like I just said. Bernice seems a bit too old for Cooper, but that didn't stop fellow IG model Brittany Rayner, who recently just had a kid with Hornets forward PJ Washington, who is only 22. 30 and 22. I want y'all to understand, man, how these chicks be around hawking these young guys, man, showing them interest. Let me tell you what they do. Now, she's a little bit late, but what they do, they try to go and be around the guy so he'll think she was the girl who was around him before he blew up, before he got paid. Now, Brittany Rayner was able to pull that off because she was there when the kid was at college. Big difference. This chick showed up, and she could have possibly been there. We don't know the full story. She could have possibly been there the entire time. But she's been linked to many other famous celebs, like I already told you. And congrats to Cooper on being drafted, and let's hope he doesn't get trapped like PJ was. And that's the thing, man. We got to make sure that as men, we doing things in our power, man, to not to help these young men not get jammed up. We know they grew up in single mother homes, and we also know growing up in a single mother home is a curse to a young man's manhood. You're never going to be quite the man that you thought you were going to be if you get jammed up like that. You know you're never going to be that. You know you're going to be in a situation where things aren't going to work out for you, and you know you're going to be in a situation where things are going to, they're going to go downhill for you because you're going to rely on some broad, man, to do something that she's not going to do. You're going to rely on some broad to do something that she can't do. And that's be loyal to you. And that's prove herself to be worthy of the things that you're giving her in your life. And I'm just going to be honest with you, man. These bras looking for a come up. These older bras, they're looking for a come up because Bernice Burgos knows that her body ain't what it used to be. She know when she compare her body to these young chicks in their 20s, no matter how bad she is in her 40s, she already know that she's no comparison to them bras. So she trying to lock this young scrappy up, man, before he get jammed up by a young bra. It's a race. There's a race going on, man, to extract resources from these young men. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of these young men aren't aware of the content that we produce, man. They aren't aware of the content. So if you know these guys, you need to be turning these young homies on to the red pill, man, or turning them on to the alpha sphere, man. You got to turn them on to places that provide the type of content that give them warning signs. Now, if they want to go ahead after that, once they have the information, that's their choice. But you can't fault a man who's doing something that nobody ever taught him not to do. And here's the thing. We know how much game, man, this 40-some-year-old woman got, man. We know how she gonna get in this young boy head. We already know, man, she gonna play that mother figure and all that, man. She gonna dive in that young boy head, man, and she gonna have him gone. And you know what gonna happen? And now she's 41. Maybe I don't know if she can still have kids or not, but man, she probably gonna end up, man, having this young cat marry her. I guarantee you her goal, man, is probably marriage. And we just gonna sit back and watch this take place? We can't, man. We got to do a better job as men out here, man. Instead of disrespecting the content that you know going to help these men, instead of talking bad about certain cultures in our society that may not even permeate society anymore, but once did, you got to look at everything from, okay, is that a position of power in that particular situation? You take pimping. Pimping ain't a position of power in the world at large, but when it comes to one-on-one interaction with a woman, it's the position of power. You got guys talking against that because instead of looking at the one-on-one position, they're trying to look at it from a cultural perspective. The problem is we ain't got no culture. Not in this society. This is American culture. Ain't nothing in this culture African. Ain't nothing in this culture black, except for the few things we got, and they being controlled by American culture too. So let's keep it a buck, man, and understand that some of these principles that these guys are dissing, like the ism, like the red pill, like alpha energy, like all of these things, even the high value man thing, man, all of these things are things that if a man embraces these outlooks and these perspectives on life, man, he'll protect himself from scallywags who are out here hunting the soul. Avoid these women, man. They are hunting for the soul of the young man who is still innocent, the young man who is still available, the young man who has not developed the walls of defense yet. And they getting him jammed up. PJ Washington, jammed up. Tyler Hero, jammed up. And it's not the old type of jammed up where you marry, bro, you get her best years, then you divorce her like Michael Jordan did. See, we can't look at MJ and say that was a bad situation. MJ married, bro, man, got the best years she had in her life, broke off at the end and went on, became a billionaire and kept building himself as a man. And then got him a young tender. These situations like this, these women are getting these men jammed up. And all they're extracting is resources and not giving anything in return except a little bit of attention. We got to stop allowing this information that you got to be like this with women, that you got to be approachable for these women. And you got to, approach these women, and you got to pedestalize these women. You got to put them on a scale where you feel so happy and pleased that they even talking to you. Man, that's not the way we're supposed to be. And the sad thing is we know this. And the even worse thing is, we're going to do it anyway and perpetuate this energy to these young guys. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.